And they said it's more gone. Oh, it's a big up. So, they really have a feeling I'm bringing out people. It's the part here that I'm so, yeah, meditation. So, just Friday for that. So I'm the author. Yeah, that is who's the author. Sounds okay. Even Tiara, I'm live in every thing. I'm definitely era. And as I go, it's roughly ask questions. Let's start not wouldn't be really from that. So I think it's probably not keep it in and certainly or what can be most learning. I mean, I will RTS this now. Get your data reading and connected. I can stick solve for me to the question. Just did it so differently. And we I have a bunch of that's I need to know in a way that was not something like a like in relationship between still lots of constant and they don't really other people how do they live mom restore pop that's supposed. So examples possible on those from the bed seeing how things learn to not the word is lost their free how it exists. And then applying the lens I say to the down of the foot of this basically it is just 20 years it's about power to where I like to do all much consequences whether the chap I think why do they all well, I don't know how to cover it. And our happen, those happen. If you are much other than them, or which that's well, miss. Well, what like happen? Yeah, you simply routes on to look at the when it is very
So, have break behind you, ladies.
saw the features like a one could do. Thank you. Lots of people. The book is divided into long nonsense what's the spot out to the magic that it was his tail, but all the figures from there are they're at the very end. I starting on specific conditions. So this I probably did with the odd knobs that you're which I bought in so I selected geographical given events preceding our petroconsultancy or even the abilities and then the second section you got pleasure if you want. You gotta be into it. And it's hard to take this. No. You walk the second section is and it's like the PDF here. Reference guide to the store. All of the topic with the first slide to release of this. So the whole book conversation between the sides here back. Again, in order to examine the layers of greenwashing, environmental racism, different ways in which they are both complicit and again looking more cosmetic. Why they have ways of to get us to address 94 coins. I'm interested. And where is actual cases? So that's a lot of kidneys. What makes our particularly good is that many people had friends like before I come there out and then just out of the explanation. So the multiracial child racism based on my son Zazu. He shares all biology. What? Home, I now understood, was a lived, all shared opening to global interconnectivity, along with his multi-species tropic companion, that's the humpback whale and the husky. So we're dealing with very different geographical locations, topographies, and looking at cross geography, like including cross temporal. So along with these multi-species travel companions, the characters search for common language is an attempt to build solidarity alliances with other ethnic minorities. This language is looking systematically literal, thus stripping and eventually erasing the cultures. We learn, quote, in search after exiles of multiple diasporas gather holy sparks in every bend of the globe to restore what has been broken, to repair the world. We learn that this light already exists within all of us and is just around within each of us, just waiting to be realized. And that's a reference. Hello, Elizabeth. She's reference to and this is our shared, these are our shared repair of the world. This, for example, but this is writing Kabbalah, so far. I get into great detail about the foundation of Kabbalah, the reason that again looking at the worship in science alone, between the science and humanities, between religion and science, these are okay. Thanks that. Again, please ask questions as I go. Anybody have initial thoughts? Those of you who have spent time with it, are you reading it straight through with the narrative, or going back and forth between narrative and what is being a relationship here? Like last like that or you're going back and forth, right? Yeah. For yes, tell us.
Partly because that some of the narrative I understand, but then I need more explanation. So the footnotes or the back and forth helps me understand what's that is. The other thing I find intriguing about your book is that the cross sections that you're doing between this country and this one, or this story, and it's very interesting because I never would have thought of trying to juxtapose those two, and it gives you a whole different reading of one or the other. It's not doesn't confine you to one section, but actually it begins to the section.
Thank you. Because it is very much. I thought anyway, so just please. So when people talk about climate anxiety or grief or a sense of hopelessness, they're serious. It's not, but I'm sure I touched on those ideas. When we're speaking about those that profound despair, when we think about the hegemonic interlocking, the ways in which all oppressions are interwoven, rather than letting that be a form of silencing and overwhelming that just being we're trying. What's our growth? If we could see those interrelationships as fodder to ignite us, that because everything is interconnected, that would give us a sense of potential across our own borders to be slippery in our own spaces. So that when I look at, for example, 9th century the canals that are aqueducts, and we're looking at those as models for our contemporary water crisis, as an example, and then look at those in relation to 2010 slip again, lead poisoning in the water. So it's a constant thing. Keep bringing that up. It's a constant back and forth between time and space, between different kinds of voices, different kinds of experiences in those both extraordinary oppressions and extraordinary euphoria. extraordinary and collective experiences of joy. It's like you may have to migrate a little bit. I'll show you down there. But like the Hill of Blah, which is, and we will gathering in Toronto, sacred gathering in Morocco among Sephardic Jews. So I use Sephardic Jews. My family is Sephardic, speak Ladino, which like phenomenal hybrid of languages. Are people familiar with Sephardic? Some people. No, I'm sure language in Armando. And you be good. No. So, my family's from the Middle East and South Africa. And the language is such a beautiful way of experiencing multiplicity and border crossing, because with every expulsion, rather than self-erasure or outside institutional erasure, there was an adaptation path. So assimilation to being self-erasure, it meant combining 15th century language, 15th century Spanish with Hebrew, Arabic. Can you speak about Ladino? Ladino, yes, Ladino, which I'll be lecturing about it as you search. But yes, Ladino, with Farsi, Turkish, Bulgarian, Thai. So depending on where you choose for it's led, we have this Jew. So that's the language. But those are points of departure. It's I'm using Sephardic histories as a model of that language of multiplicity as a departure point that we have talk about the larger issues. So here's the Zazu, and Zazu, he was 6 when I originally started the wedding. Again, all the images around my mother, my primary collaborator around me, Hachuel, the commonly and throughout the book are Latino proverbs. So when I perform this second part in faith spaces and the planetarium places, universities, variety of enemies. I don't have a Latino sort of Spanish. I do Latino. It's so or somebody speaks Arabic, and often it's rich proverb. This what you learn in the cradle lasts some 100 years. So it's again messages. And I think throughout time and culture, proverbs, parable, or storytelling have been such a force of clarity and guidance around it. As we go through incredible consonant. This is part of it relating to that often very contradictory ways of dealing with our crisis, our ecological crisis, could be like when, for example, greenwashing, and contradictions we all have to endure, subsidy, how we are participating in that we apply to forums, but we're still subtle in the world. So I talk a lot about just rewatching it, what it says as individuals to confront them and work with the individuals, looking at their support on a lot of them. Do you want to question you're saying comforting and support grade? Being watching bi-original learning centers as a way to confront those insidious infiltrations down the to so the book question, why did you put, for example, renewables? That's a big one. Renewable energy is not inherently renewable. It's based on fossil fuels, currently minerals, that infrastructures, substations, and of course the arrays, and giving us permission to use more to the targets as well as silver turtle. This core, so showing again that this binary is good. In months, I don't know about targeting. You found very and how do we deal with that? This negative. We definitely do. we had a copy to be sent in. This something about friend telling his dreams too. So he wakes up in the morning and tells his dreams to his best friend. And this is actually best friend Dick Nurse. The nurse just either out his responsibility was laying down the openings 13 years ago. So they're telling their lives to me telling the things, Greeks reflecting back on this dreams and like conversation. Again, listen to their stories. I've been living that for so safely rather than to recycle them together. But I see her. This is to a time and space where they're reflecting on their ancestors' stories. So this is about ancestral wisdom and ancient technologies and how to inculcate with those knowledges that are temporary. Crises, but also joyous environment. Not just that's bad. And then like red flag with very characters and how to the god. This actually is the harsh era. We had here Sojourner Truth is on the board here. What that you got 9 since here. Like the Warriors just follow event to Gold 2016. And she's a Martian era. That's her background. The Martian era. And it's all about the Martian civilization to do a Tigris and Euphrates history of items. The way water was used, that they shoot up and say, and again, this kind of power dynamics that weren't just repressed. Looking at the street, how did people deal at these different time periods with the proximal trashing the people together to occur together? Let's just see it here, and it's what's up with that. And the rear flags are doing rear flags with the historical figures and even more of their phrases. Can we migrate? Oh yeah, I was that yet using the rear flag specifically as a display as you know, I did my mom more than a display. Yeah, as a way to convey. It was my mom, and I love that. It's just that's what these are. These are like a problem. It's a blessing. It's at the moment for cause. It's the Jewish tradition. Shemitah.
Kim,
Do people know about Shemitah?
if I run out of space, can you take a video for the next part? I've got about 2 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So that is a Shabbat. It's a 7-year Shabbat. So in a way, it's this kind of Shabbat, allowing us to take it the unbelievable strength and magnitude and to be with it in a kind of lesson space. And I hope we have a little bit more clarity and so it's to live on collectively. So that's what so much is about. It's about community. So collective action. Encourage you there before we move on. Yeah, really taken with this image here. Like I'd never seen the phrase petroleum. I have the feeling that's how I was raised.
Yeah, right.
That's like the renewables revolution is not the answer. Like, what are some of the solutions? Yeah, if this is free, like what are the new shoots off the tree? Yes, thank you. But I'd love to hear thoughts about your petroleum is the phrase I use to refer to the ways in which we are unwittingly also consciously participate in biophobic and ecocidal ways of being on a daily basis, whether it's transportation or technology, education.
What do you see when you say body phobic? Are you talking about kids who develop anorexia?
It certainly relates to that. I mean, a lot of what I'm talking about. So the characters, it's like the primary characters in the book are sand, salt, amber, and so in terms of how in the U.S. train children to be disgusted by our own bodies.
But menstruation.